Hey sneak peekers, I'm Samia. This weekend, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon, the latest feature from famed director Martin Scorsese. Killers of the Flower Moon is an adaptation of the nonfiction book of the same name, which chronicles the history of the Osage Nation's sudden oil wealth and the plot to steal that wealth through a series of murders. While the book also details the formation of the FBI and how the FBI's investigation into this plot helped solidify the Bureau as a permanent part of the U.S. government, the film instead focuses on the relationship between Ernest Burkhart, Molly Burkhart, and Ernest's uncle, William Bill Hale. The film begins with Ernest Burkhart, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, arriving in Oklahoma after World War I to work for his uncle, referred to as King. King convinces Ernest to marry an Osage woman to gain access to her wealth from the oil discovered on the Osage reservation. Ernest then sets his sight on Molly Burkhart, played by actress Lily Gladstone, who he ultimately courts and marries. However, tragedy strikes as her family and members of her tribe die under suspicious circumstances. After failed investigations, Molly and members of her tribe enlist the federal government to step in and solve these killings. The primary highlight of this film is the stellar performances from the film's ensemble. Lily Gladstone gave what is likely one of my favorite performances from this year. Her acting is quite subtle, yet incredibly powerful, and I am excited to see what she does next. I was also especially impressed with Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. While he has played villains and anti-heroes in the past in films such as Django Unchained and Wolf of Wall Street, his portrayal of Ernest is particularly pathetic and cowardly, and his character arc highlights the consequences of complacency in the face of injustice. Likewise, Robert De Niro embodies the role of the charming yet terrifying king, who pretends to be a friend of the Osage despite his sinister intentions. I also greatly appreciated the more minor characters. I was particularly impressed with the amount of Native American talent in the film, from Cara Jane Myers as Molly's sister to William Below as tribe member Henry Roan. Jesse Plemons also had a small but effective role in setting up the film's final act, and Brendan Fraser gives an interesting but memorable performance with the limited screen time he gets. Furthermore, there are several cameos from country singers to directors which you don't want to miss. Killers of the Flower Moon also features incredible cinematography from Rodrigo Prieto, as well as a tight script that incorporates quite a bit of humor amidst the atrocities depicted. These aspects, combined with Scorsese's impeccable direction, contribute to the film's effective pace. Despite its nearly 3.5-hour runtime, not a single moment in the story felt wasted, demonstrating that a film's runtime does not matter as long as it contributes to the story that's told. Before its release, Killers of the Flower Moon underwent extensive rewrites throughout its production. As the book largely focuses on the FBI's role in uncovering the killings, Martin Scorsese decided to shift the film's perspective and focused more on the antagonists and Native American characters due to suggestions from the Osage tribe representatives and Leonardo DiCaprio, who was initially assigned the role of the FBI protagonist. This shift in plot and creative perspective is reflected in unique stylistic choices throughout the film. Scorsese incorporates several form changes featuring short segments of black and white film, faux archival photos, newspaper headlines inserted as stills, and a staged radio play to close out the film. This choice draws the audience's attention towards the act of storytelling and culminates in an ending that asks the audience to consider how the story of Molly Burkhart is told and who gets to tell her story. While I was initially taken aback by the conclusion due to the exclusion of the characters featured in the first 3 hours, I ultimately appreciated Scorsese's choice to emphasize not only the limits of his perspective as a white male director in telling a story centering the Osage tribe, but also the limits of film and true crime as mediums to fully capture the horrors they endured. With Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese provides a masterclass for depicting a traumatic, timely story with sensitivity and care, and cements his place as one of the best working directors today. I am excited to see how the story facilitates further representation of Native Americans and hopefully shifts the types of stories told in Hollywood. Tell us what you think of Killers of the Flower Moon at Sneak Peek TSTV. Now, back to the hosts.
Thanks, y'all. Killers of the Flower Moon is currently playing in theaters. Let us know your thoughts on it at Sneak Peek TV on social media.
We'll be back after a quick commercial break.